Hello, hello, hello. We're back. The Agents of Helm are back in the building. How are you guys doing tonight? We are here for your weekly input. This is the show where we talk some box office. We talk about some shows that we're watching, give you a couple of reviews, just normal agent entertainment and low moral stuff that we like to put together to give to you guys on a regular basis. So before we jump into the box office, I'm going to introduce more people again. I'm Malik, and I have Joe.
What's up, people?
And of course, we have Johanna.
Hey.
And last but not least, Lorenzo.
So we're your people now?
Yes, you are all my people. Well,
All right.
everybody that listens, and everybody that's on here are my people.
Oh, so you're gonna introduce our two listeners?
We're gonna. If I knew who they were, if they made themselves present, I would definitely
Speak
introduce
up,
our two
listeners.
listeners.
That way next time Malik can introduce you.
Yeah, speak up. Send a message, send a post, and then we will definitely give you a quick shout out on our weeklies and on our podcast.
Oh, I know one person who listens consistently, and that's my husband, but I think maybe I make him kind of in my head.
Oh.
That's no problem. If it's written into the vows, it works. I have
Yeah.
no issues with that.
It was written to the vows years ago.
Exactly. He just needs to flip it over. It's in that invisible ink when he flips it over.
Exactly.
So without further ado, we're going to jump into this week's box office, and I'm going to kick it over to Lorenzo to go ahead and get us started.
All right, great. Thanks, Malik. Let's just quickly run down the top 10. So we got this movie called Chef. I think I just said Chef. Which I hear a lot of good things about. It's a movie that's got John Turturro in it, and it's got the guy from, well, what's he known now for? For Iron Man? He's the director of Iron Man. What's his name?
John
Joe?
Favreau.
Yeah, John Favreau's in it. Who's your favorite housewife, Joe?
Sofia Vergara, of course.
She's in it as well. Yeah, and so that's at number 10 right now. It's not doing really great at the box office, but I hear it's a good movie. You should go check it out. I'm probably not. Godzilla is at number 9. X-Men: Days of Future Past is still raking it in. It's up to 216 now, $216 million. So it's actually broken even because it was a $200 million movie. Same thing with Godzilla. It topped 160 with 194 million already. At number 7, we have The Fault in Our Stars, and we're gonna go back to that one because our agent Johanna actually had a chance to check it out this weekend and record a review of it upside down. So that's exciting. Edge of Tomorrow is at number 6. Maleficent. Has anybody seen Maleficent yet?
Not yet.
No?
I keep just
This is a movie-
consistently, yeah.
Not seen it. Yeah, it's one of those movies that we keep meaning to see and have not yet. It is doing okay though without us. It just recently broke even. It's been in the box office for 4 weeks, and it is now at $185 million. Its budget was 180, so it is in the black. Number 4 is a new movie this week. Jersey Boys. It just came out this week. It's based on the hit Broadway musical entitled Jersey Boys. Joe is wanting to see that. I saw the previews, the trailers. It looks pretty good, right, Joe?
Yeah, it looks good. It's also directed by Clint Eastwood, and that guy he almost always hits a home run. So I want to see it.
I love Clint Eastwood. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan. I
What
wish I was
what
more
is he directing from
like
a
Clint
hospital
Eastwood.
bed or something like that? Isn't he like 97 years old?
Don't hate, Malik.
I'm just asking a question.
You should be so lucky. No, that's not a legitimate question.
No, it is.
You're
because-
really asking me
no,
if
no,
he's
it is-
directing
it's a
from a
legitimate-
hospital bed.
It's a legitimate question because I saw Gran Torino and the man could barely walk in that movie. Okay, that was the last movie that I saw him in, and so ever since that movie, I just assumed that Clint Eastwood was, like spending 90% of his time bedridden and then getting up and doing a movie. So that's literally what I was
I'm going
thinking.
to ask our senior
wait.
listeners to please forgive.
I have nothing wrong with. I have
Malik's
nothing wrong with. I have nothing wrong with senior citizens. It's just my assumption based off of Gran Torino.
No, wait, but okay, so listeners, like, if you haven't seen Gran Torino, please stop listening right now. because it's a spoiler alert. Didn't he like fuck up a whole bunch of people with a gun? Like, I mean, like he was doing some
That's
stuff.
not a real spoiler,
Well,
Johanna, just for the record.
That's
I-
pretty much the end.
The people you just sent away from our podcast, I think, I don't think that was justified.
Wait, the number
We might have
went
just-
from
we might have
0
just-
to 0. Hold on.
how is that
we
not
might
a
have just
spoiler?
had our listenership slashed by like half.
How is this not a spoiler?
He fucked up some people with a gun.
Did
It's
he?
Clint Eastwood, man. Anyway, forget it. The point is that at number 3, How to Train Your Dragon 2 scored $24 million, and it is now at $94 million, which is a pretty big drop-off, huh? Because it's only been in the box office for 2 weeks, and it already made $94 million. What's the math there? So last week it made, what, 60-something million? 70 million? Wow, last weekend it made $70 million. So, bit of a drop-off. 22 Jump Street dropped off, just as Malik predicted with his head. People, listeners at home, Malik is actually bald-headed, and I joke that he uses his head as a crystal ball. This is the third time
Right.
I've made this joke. I guarantee I'm gonna make it at least 3 more times
Tonight.
before June is done. Let's just say that.
Before June is done.
And at number 1, guys, we have Think Like a Man 2 with Chris Tucker.
No, Chris
Yeah,
Tucker.
Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's in this one. So is Chris Rock and Denzel.
Lawrence Fishburne, is he in it too?
Lawrence Fishburne's in it.
Lawrence Fishburne, is that what you said?
Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne.
No, he's the Jewish Lawrence Fishburne. The
Yeah.
Jewish Lawrence Fishburne is Lawrence Fishburne. Everybody knows that.
Don Cheadle. They're all in it.
Yeah, so no wonder it did so great at the box office, scoring nearly $30 million on its $24 million budget. So Joe, you got a chance to watch the movie. Why don't you just quickly tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are on the subject of Think Like a Man 2?
Sure. So I went in there. I was very skeptical. I did see on Rotten Tomatoes that it was given 23%. So I said, you know what? I told my wife, hey, let's see this at the matinee show. This way we don't have to pay full price. Right?
Cheap ass.
So cheap ass. That's right. It's got to save money, especially if you think the movie's going to be bad.
Just called skills.
That's right, skills. Lorenzo. You wish you could do that.
I give you
Anyway.
a hard time, Joe. You know, like I'm going out at the Alpine in Bay Ridge, $6 movies on Wednesdays. Any of our listeners want to come out with me one of these days? We'll go see a movie.
Lorenzo will be seeing it on Wednesday night.
I'll be seeing
Anyway.
The Fault in Our Stars on Wednesday.
Don't even.
But anyway. So I have to say I was pleasantly surprised when I saw this movie. The movie Think Like a Man is based off the Steve Harvey book of the same name, Think Like a Man, where is the first one is the focal point of the first movie is really the book and how the women use the book to get their men or how to gauge their men. The second one pretty much only shares the title. Think Like a Man has nothing to do with the book. Basically, it's the whole cast returns, and they're just partying in Vegas. So I don't want to give too much away, but you could tell from the trailers, the guys and the girls, they split up, and the guys are doing their thing, and the girls are doing their thing, and basically they're celebrating. One of the couples is going to get married in Vegas. So, you know, obviously you're going to have certain things when you think of Vegas. You think of strip clubs, you think of gambling, you think of money, and you think of big hotel rooms. Think Like a Man delivers on all those fronts. It's funny. Kevin Hart lights up the screen every time he's there. It's no surprise. I mean, every movie he's come out with this year has been #1 for that weekend. So he was very funny. The rest of the cast was pretty funny. The girls were sexy. Let me just say that now. They did. There's a part in the movie where they reenact the Poison video. So Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison. They sing. It was a little cheesy, but you know it was funny and it was sexy. Also, a new member of the cast. She plays the mother on the Goldbergs. I don't know if any of you have seen the ABC series The Goldbergs, which is based in the 80s, but Wendy McClendon Covey, she's new to the cast, and she's part of. I don't know if you guys know Gary Owen. He was in the first movie, Think Like a Man. Well, she plays his wife. The only
Oh,
white dude besides
the
Jerry
white guy that was married. The white you talking about the white that was married that always had to leave.
Exactly. So
Oh, okay, cool.
she plays his wife, and they all go to Vegas, right? So, um, again, it was very good. It was very funny. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know why I got such horrible reviews. Maybe because I will say this much: it is very predictable. That are foreshadowed in the beginning of the film, you know what's going to happen. You pretty much know how the movie's going to end in the first 10 minutes, and you know what? It's fine because it was fun. I want to go there. I want to have a good time. I want to laugh and think like a man too. Delivered on all those fronts. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 because it was just a fun movie. Back to
Nice.
you guys.
Hold on, wait. We do agents. So how
Back
many
to you,
agents do you give it?
agents.
No, how many agents do you give it?
How many agents do I give it?
Yeah, out of 4 agents, how many agents?
Out of 4 agents, I will give it 2.75 agents
So that means
out of
that
4.
you liked it. Do you think Malik would like it?
I think Malik would find it funny. Now he may think it's stupid at the same time, but I think he would find it funny.
What
And
about Johanna?
Johanna, to be honest, I'm really not too sure. I haven't really heard her perspective on comedies, so I'm not sure what she finds funny and what she doesn't.
And what about me?
Lorenzo, as always, you are a wild card because sometimes what I think you're gonna like, you absolutely hate, and when I think you're gonna hate it, you absolutely love it. So I don't know what the hell is going on in that head.
I am an enigma, Joe.
You are an enigma,
So it sounds like you're
and,
giving
and, a,
it.
and a bunch of other things. But other
It
than
sounds like you're giving
that,
it 2.5. 2.5
yeah,
agents. All right.
I'll give it 2.5 agents.
All right. This sounds good. Uh, and then we also wanted to hear from Johanna because, as promised, she took a bullet for the team. Went to go see The Fault in Our Stars, and has brought back a review.
Cool. So I kind of feel like this movie is the antithesis of Think Like a Man 2, from the sounds of it, in terms of the fact that it's very depressing, and there are some funny parts, but the ending is depressing. Spoiler alert, you cry a lot, or it's supposed to make you cry.
Hmm.
Um, so basically, the movie is about a girl who is terminally ill with cancer, Hazel. She meets this cancer survivor, Augustus, in group therapy, support group. And he's like very, very pushy, and I don't think it came across very well in the movie. In the movie, it just comes off like he's a douchebag, in my opinion. But they fall in like hipster love, and it's kind of Juno-ish, and it's just like very smart kids, like, and not even actually. I think a lot of the book was watered down. I think the producers felt like maybe it would be too nihilistic to really capture the complete spirit of the book, because the book is very much an unsentimental look at cancer survivors trying to get beyond that like martyr kind of stereotype, the oh you're so brave kind of thing. There's one point in the book where someone with like a cancer that's not as fatal tells Hazel like I wish I was as brave for you as you, and she says something like I'll trade my whatever for cancer or whatever, kind of just being like I'd rather be cancer free than be brave. A lot of that's watered down. I don't think it would have played well. There were some more graphic things that could have been put in the movie to kind of give it that real aspect that aren't included. Basically, the movie's only really funny when the best friend is on screen, Max, who loses his eyes to cancer. Yeah, that sounds kind of dark too, doesn't it? Um, I thought he was great. Um, but then, like, in the middle, it just lags because it turns into just your regular cancer, like dying of cancer, kind of over romanticized schmaltzy thing with this really terrible soundtrack. The soundtrack was terrible. So you're kind of looking at your watch the whole time. And if you have read the book, you're like, wait, like all these things have to happen before I can leave this theater and have some Shake Shack. Um, so
You actually had to bribe somebody to go with you.
I didn't have to bribe her, but definitely Shake Shack was the motivating factor beyond going to see a movie about kids dying of cancer. It's really sad. Would I recommend it to anyone? I'd recommend it if you really need to cry because you can't get it out any other way. Um, I would have to say that I would give this half an agent.
Wow.
Wow.
Only
Bec-
half. My goodness.
because
Now, I was gonna ask you, Johanna, did now be honest? Did you cry during the film? Honest answer. That's a
Yes.
yes. That's
You
a
know what?
yes.
You know what it is? I didn't cry about the girl and the boyfriend. I cried. There were some parts where they were really talking about the parents and how the parents are dealing with it, and there's this whole montage where you see the girl kind of going through all of these cancer treatments as a really young kid with the parents, and the parents kind of losing it. That's when I cried. I think as a parent, like those are the scenes that are going to affect you more than like the romantic couple stuff. Like that didn't. It was not portrayed well in the movie at all. Um, and I'm giving it half an agent because none of you would like it, and I only half liked it, and it is a half of regret.
So, Johanna, I just have to ask you, have you ever seen the movie 50/50?
No.
Okay.
That's with
So,
Seth Rogen and
yeah, that's the one with Seth
yeah.
Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt where he
Yep.
has cancer.
No.
Also, so because I mean, no, I'm just trying to think of like the cancer type films that I've seen over the recent years, and there was another one with Adam Sandler where he was playing a
Oh, I
comedian that
saw
had
that.
Oh
cancer.
yeah, I saw
Like,
that.
Yeah, I saw
so
that.
would you compare? How would you compare this to that in terms of just
Probably
not
not as
not
funny.
not the way, not again, not in the sense of the way like the genre of the movie, but the way it dealt with cancer and the way it dealt with the subject.
Um, if I recall correctly, and I might not be recalling the Adam Sandler movie correctly, I felt like there was a lot of name dropping. Like celebrities would just kind of stop by and be like, "Hey, famous comedian, now you're dying of cancer." Um, and I think it was trying to be serious, but I think this film is more serious
Mm.
and less sentimental. I think there was still that sentimental aspect to. I don't. For some reason, I keep wanting to say the name is Get Happy, but I know that is not even remotely the name of that film.
That's not it. I'm gonna look it
Which
up
one?
now.
Was it?
The Adam Sandler film.
Seth Rogen was actually in that movie too,
Yeah, Seth
and
Rogen was the best
Aubrey
friend.
Plaza was in that as well.
Yeah,
Was it
the
called
movie
like
wasn't bad. It was
Funny?
just it was strange the way like in the middle of it, spoiler alert, he gets cured of his cancer. Like it just goes
Right, he
into
goes into
remission or
remission.
whatever. And then so I mean, because really, ideally, I would have preferred if he was gonna die at the end. You know, like that seems like what should have happened. Because that's what
Yeah,
happens when you get cancer. You
it's
die.
Funny People.
Oh,
There
okay.
Funny
you
Funny
go.
People is the
people,
name of the
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah, so
mean,
it's meant to be dark, but then when he recovers from the cancer, it's just not dark anymore because it's like, hello, cured of cancer, okay.
yeah, I
But then
kind
doesn't
of
he
get it.
doesn't he like feel alive again and like become nicer person? I forgot. I can't remember.
I don't know.
He
I
made
think
some
Doesn't
life
matter.
changes, didn't he?
I think the fact that we can't remember says something too.
Yeah.
There's something. I don't know what though. I can't remember
Yeah.
half the shit I watch.
Well, I mean, so I brought that up just to kind of say like Hollywood tends to go in different directions when dealing with a terminal illness like cancer. So you can go with something like Funny People or 50/50, which was inspired by a true story. There was also another one, and I can't remember the name of it, where the kid gets diagnosed with cancer and he wants to meet like his favorite singer or something like that. And so like him and his friends travel to New York to meet the singer, and the singer is like this, really, mean. She's like this, she's like a pop star, so she's like a real, suffice it to say, she's a real bitch.
Wow,
And
that sounds like this movie
and
because
yeah, so
they
maybe yeah,
go,
maybe
yeah, they go and they meet a famous author, and he's an asshole.
okay.
So
Wasn't Fanboys like that too? Wasn't Fanboys? Did you see the movie Fanboys where they were one of the there was a bunch of friends. One of them was dying. I don't know if it was from cancer, but he was dying, and they heard the Phantom Menace. They were gonna break into Skywalker Ranch and get a look at the first copy of Phantom Menace.
that sounds
Yes, I do remember
hilarious.
that. I actually, no, I do remember the
It was
movie.
good, man. It was obviously had a very sad ending. Um, but yeah, it was pretty good. These guys, I mean, the kid, the friend dying is part of it, but most of it is them trying to figure out a way to get into Skywalker Ranch so they can see this movie before
Wow,
he dies.
that sounds way better than this film.
Yeah, it was an independent film, I believe.
No,
Hmm.
yeah, Fanboys was definitely. Only problem I have with Fanboys is the majority of the funny scenes were in the trailer.
Yeah,
Um, and that kind of sucked. But other than that, it wasn't a bad movie. I just felt like it could have been better.
All right, guys, let's
Um,
go ahead and move on. How about that? We talked about the box office. Now it's time to talk about
just stop
post
over here.
post Game of Thrones. Like what are we gonna do now that Game of Thrones is over? Uh, what's happening, guys? Tell me, guide me.
So
well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
no,
ahead,
no,
Johanna.
go ahead, Molly.
Well, I was saying, so what's happening is the agents, as we discussed last week, are venturing out on our own, and we are each taking the opportunity to research or to watch a show that no one else is watching. Well, at least no one else of the four of us is watching, and comment and kind of bring to light some of the shows that are going on in these summer months. I don't know if we even need to talk about the monstrosity that was True Blood yesterday. I don't know. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it. My
No,
personal
I
opinion is
actually
That's
haven't
fine.
even watched it yet.
okay.
That's
My
I,
personal
fine.
opinion is horrible, but
yeah,
I saw like the first 5 minutes.
my
Um,
Facebook blew up from that.
Hold on. Let's lay out. Like, okay. So is just to clarify. So are we all going to kind of tackle one show
no.
and then bring back our thoughts on that show?
No, so I think that what we are going to do is we're going to each choose a show,
Isn't that what I
and
just said?
no, we're not. I thought you said we were all going to tackle one show. I thought that's what your question was.
as
We
in, like we tackled Game of
each
Thrones.
each one no each one of us is going to tackle a show and
Right.
then bring
Okay.
back. So let's just who's getting what? Are you or are you not handling True Blood, Malik?
I am not handling True Blood.
What do you,
I only brought up True Blood as a show that at least
hmm,
half of us are watching,
yeah, yeah.
and therefore it would be something that at least two of us would be able to discuss. But
What?
my personal choice is I
Yeah.
do not want to tackle that show at all.
What do you want to? What are you going to be bringing to us then?
So my choice for my reviews is going to be the new Stars original entitled Power. This show is following the exploits of a James St. Patrick, I think that's what his name is, played by Omari Hardwick. You've probably seen him on a shows like Dark Blue, which was on TNT for some time. He's been in a lot of other things. I'll look it up and give you guys more information about him. But just a quick overview: he plays a nightclub owner of a nightclub in New York City called Truth. It's located somewhere down um, in the Flatiron District. If for any of you people that are not from New York that are listening, the Flatiron District is somewhere around the 15th, 14th Street area, and the really the fashion area. He's built up this nightclub over there. It just opened, and he's starting to get all kinds of new clientele, and he's trying to build up his repertoire and his presence in the nightclub industry. And also, he is a big time drug dealer. Really, really big time drug dealer. I mean, like Mexican cartels feeding him the drugs, and him distributing the drugs all over the city type of drug dealer, and has been doing it for a very long time, and it appears to be that's where he got his money from. So There's a few ins and outs going on with regards to it. Of course, the big problem is, how do you manage, one very, very legitimate business and one very, very illegitimate business, and the ins and outs of that, and how deeply connected one is to the other. There's relationship stuff going on. Of course, there's always something with the cops that's involved. So it's a good show thus far. It's three episodes in, and there's so far there's actually some really good pieces of it. I will say the acting is a bit stiff at times. Some of the characters have led themselves to some ridicule in regards to like showing emotion. This also stars Naturi Naughton, who is I don't know if you can call her a former singer, now just turned actress. But she was in the singing group 702, if I'm not mistaken, and she is now turned to acting. She has also been in the movie Notorious, so she was playing Little Kim in Notorious.
Okay.
So now she's moved over to she's the wife of the main character. Other people in this show, not really sure if we would know a lot of the characters on this show. I would only say that the show centers around a large group of Hispanic characters, because a lot of the players that are connected to him are in the South Bronx or Spanish Harlem and things of that sort. So he definitely deals with a lot of different characters from Spanish backgrounds.
So it takes place in New York. That's good.
The entire show takes place in New York, and so one of the characters is Luis Antonio Ramos, and he's a well-known character actor. Has been in a whole bunch of different things. You can take a quick look at his IMDb. He's been in everything from Law and Order. He's been on Burn Notice, CSI, Shield. He's like a really good TV actor. Has been in just about everything. But all in all, so far so good. It's a good show. I know some people may have problems with the whole drug dealer aspect. It is executive produced by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and so he does have some input on the way that it's going. And I believe that him being connected to it gives it a little bit of realism to the show, because he lived that lifestyle, and so he can kind of lead and give an expert opinion about the things that are going on in it. I do like the fact that because it's taking place in New York and because there's a lot of Spanish background, the main character does speak in quote unquote New York Spanglish or New Yorican. So there are different moments where he is talking in both Spanish and English when he's speaking to his counterparts in the drug game. Of course, a lot of the Spanish characters speak in Spanish to one another. So it's not just this Anglo-Saxon English-speaking situation all the way around. It's very real. It feels very real in that sense. So I'm going to give it some more time and see where it goes. What I would like to say is just a big quick shout out to his second in command person, and I'm going to get you guys a name as soon as I'm able to come up with him. But he's very, very interesting. I call him like Eminem Light, because he's this white guy that's like doesn't look like he would be a part of anything bad, but he's a badass, and he's every bit the badass that Omari Hardwick tries not to be. So he's like his yin to his yang, and they play off of each other very well. His name is Joseph Sakura, and he plays Tommy Egan on the show. So I want to give a quick shout out to Joseph Sakura. I think he's doing a great job as Tommy, and I will continue watching, and I will continue giving you guys updates as we go along. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Joe to give us your show that you're watching.
All right, so I'll be honest, it was a tough one because I started watching a few shows. I just watched this weekend. I watched Last Ship, which is the new TNT drama.
Yeah.
Murder in the First, starring Taye Diggs. I started watching that. I did watch Dominion, which is the Legion. The continuation of the movie Legion. I don't know if you guys remember that, where the angels attacked this diner in the middle of a desert, whatever.
That's exactly why I didn't watch the show.
Right. So Dominion just started this weekend. So I did see all those three, but I settled on something similar to Malik. I settled on Gang Related. So Gang Related stars Ramon Rodriguez. I don't know if you guys remember him from He was the nerdy roommate of Shia LaBeouf in Transformers, the second one, Revenge of the Fallen. Um,
Another reason why I don't watch gang related.
Wowie.
So, and also stars Lost veteran Terry O'Quinn. You remember him as Locke on Lost.
Okay.
Stars Han from Fast and Furious franchise. His name is Sung Kang. And, of course, everybody's favorite member of the Wu-Tang Clan, the RZA, is on here. And actually, you know, when I saw his name, I was like, oh, man. But he hasn't been too bad. It's not like he's been in some of the movies I've seen him in lately. Here he hasn't been too bad. But the movie centers around Ramon Rodriguez's character, Ryan Lopez. Basically, when he was a kid, his father passes away, and he's raised by the neighborhood drug lord, Javier Acosta, who was played by Cliff Curtis. I don't know if you remember Cliff Curtis from, he did a TV show called Trauma a couple of years back. He was the FBI agent that was helping Bruce Willis in Live Free or Die Hard. Trying to remember what else, but he's you know him when you see him. He's been in a ton of things. So he raises Ramon Rodriguez's character Ryan Lopez from a young age, and then brings him into the family. But Ramon Rodriguez becomes a cop, so it's kind of like I used this description earlier to describe it to Lorenzo. It's like the Mexican version of The Departed.
Mm-hmm.
Where Cliff Curtis is the head of this Mexican mafia, and Ramon Rodriguez is planted into the LAPD and gives him information because he's trying to corner the market on a new drug called fish scale, and he wants to be the main distributor in Los Angeles for this new drug called fish scale. So he helps him out. He gives him information in exchange for other information to lock up other criminals. So we're also led to believe there possibly could be someone else on the payroll. Within the first couple of episodes, we're led to believe that there could be someone else within the LAPD that is also helping him out. He also has what you call not a stepbrother, but Cliff Curtis's son. He has two sons. One is Jay Hernandez, who's played by Jay Hernandez, and he's the legitimate one. He's the one that he gets sent to law school. He wants to open a bank and legitimize the family business. And he has another son played by Reynaldo Gallegos, who's in the other side of the family business, and he goes out and he does all the killing and drug moving and stuff like that. So so far I find it's a good story. Where Ryan finds the key character, Ryan finds himself constantly in tough positions where he's going to have to make decisions between his LAPD family and his other family. And, every episode kind of puts him in a precarious position where he has to make a decision to help one or the other. So I don't know how long it's going to last. It's going to be 12 episodes this season, and we'll see what happens from here on out. But so far, I'm enjoying it.
So,
Nice.
Joe, what's some of the storylines right now? How many episodes are we into the show so far?
So far, we're 5 episodes in.
Okay, and so is it just following this one main storyline all the way through, or are there like?
Well,
intricate...
I mean, the other storylines are, so his brother, one of the sons of the mafia leader, his son gets shot in the first episode and he's left paralyzed. So now there's the storyline with the son trying to learn how to use a wheelchair and do those kind of things, and he has that feeling of losing his manhood because he goes back to his boys in the neighborhood, and as a coming home gift, they give him a woman, and obviously he can't. He's stuck in the wheelchair. He can't perform, so he feels less than a man, and he starts to doubt himself. I mean, it's funny how the show tries to make you feel sorry for this guy when this guy is a murderer, a drug dealer. He killed a cop in the very first episode, and it's kind of like trying to make you feel bad for him. But me personally, I think he's getting everything he deserves. But the show tries to get you that feel sorry for him. And like I said, the other one played by Jay Hernandez is trying to legitimize the business. So they're trying to figure out a way to he's trying to figure out a way to clean up the family, but the father is going to use that new bank that they've created and probably launder his fish scale money through there to make it look legitimate.
Very
So
Godfather-esque.
yeah, so
Michael and Sonny, right? Like, would that be
yeah,
Sonny? Sonny and Michael, yeah.
yeah. So you have the two, one good brother, one bad brother, and then you have the adopted type of brother, played by the main character Ramon Rodriguez, who's trying to fit in both ways and trying to do. He always tries to do the right thing. He tries to do the right thing, but he also has to keep in mind he's got to help the family because if it ever gets out, his secret ever gets out that he is working for the family, clearly, obviously, he can get arrested, lose his job, get killed. So he's trying to walk that fine line.
Good. Okay. Johanna, what about you? Are you what are you bringing to the table for us to discuss?
Um, I've been watching Orange is the New Black.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've watched most of it, the second season rather. So just to catch up, our listeners, um, Orange is the New Black is a TV show, a Netflix show about Piper, this woman. She's white, she's upper class, she's kind of a yuppie, I guess. She, is about to get married, and she goes to jail because she helped her girlfriend years and years ago carry drugs like across like a border or something.
Played
So
by
she,
played by the girl that I liked even better than Mila Kunis, Mina Kunis.
Mila
Mila Kunis,
Kunis.
Yeah, from that '70s show.
Oh, you're talking about. I don't
Laura
know her.
Papone,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Laura Papone,
Laura
Well,
Papone.
yeah,
Laura Papone.
yeah.
well, I think she looks really good in
She's
this
gotten she's
series.
gotten big. I guess she was always big, but now she got big.
Okay. I don't know if you're saying that's good or bad, Lorenzo.
She got big.
Okay. Well, so Laura Prepon plays the girlfriend, and they find each other in jail, and of course Piper's really upset, but then they end up, I'm not spoiling anything from the second season. This is all from the first. They do end up like starting a relationship that crashes and burns because that's what they do. But more interestingly is the ensemble cast around Piper. Um, just a whole lot of different people from different facets. There is the chef, Red, who's a Russian woman who ends up punching like a mafia guy's like a wife in the boobs, and so she's like in jail for that, like because they like threatened and extorted them, and there's all sorts of different stories. There's storylines within with the prison guards and the women in custody, and just how the women kind of use their bodies and their wits to kind of get more privileges. So that's what it. That's the basic premise of it. So second season, they really do rely very, very heavily on the ensemble. It's almost like they know what people want to watch. Piper herself is not a very interesting character. Once you get that whole thing down, that she's from this different background than the other women in the prison, that fish out of water story starts getting really old when the fish is kind of getting used to not being in water anymore. So it really it focuses on the ensemble. It deepens the stories. We get two new characters. One is like this naive activist who is really, wants to bring that activist spirit into the jail. And then the other character is like this. I mean, she really wants to like run the prison. Like it's this woman comes into the jail system and has been there before and has this history with Red, and she wants to like run everything, and she manipulates a lot of people to do it. So that's kind of what's going on without spoiling anything, what's going on in the second season. I'm enjoying it a lot so far. I'm enjoying the ensemble cast. The woman who plays Tasty is really great. And there are other just almost every. I mean, Poussey is a really good actress too, and like her backstory is really interesting because like her dad was was a general, and she gets in trouble. Like she basically. I mean, I don't want to ruin it. So I have to say I am enjoying it a lot. And I highly, 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 highly recommend watching it. I think watching the first season is probably a good idea. Uh, I have to say I've watched a good deal of the Netflix series. I've watched Arrested Development season 4, aka the season I don't acknowledge. I've watched House of Cards, and I've watched Orange is the New Black. I've overall been very impressed with the Netflix series. Um, I would say Orange is the New Black is more entertaining than House of Cards, but House of Cards is pretty phenomenal. So yeah.
Great.
Great. How far along are you, Johanna?
I think that we only have 2 episodes to go before we finish.
See, that's one of the challenges with Netflix is that you're going to be done with the whole show, by next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of have to resist the urge to binge watch the Netflix shows and not just speed along, because I mean, when a show is good, you just want to get to the next episode and just keep it moving. And
yeah, and
Netflix shows give you the opportunity to do that.
And I have friends who they will literally just sit down and watch in one sitting. I have a child. It's kind of harder to do that. But yeah, I'm hoping, to review Masters of Sex soon, if that's any consolation, once it comes back on. Yeah.
Great.
So we can definitely squeeze in how you feel about the last 2 episodes and what you're thinking about when you watch those 2 episodes and how it's related to the entire run of the show. Do you know if it's been given a 3rd season yet? Are they going to do a 3rd season of Orange is the New Black?
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I have kind of a cool story, actually, about the 2nd season. I don't know how my husband found this out, but without, knowing he ended up selling them a small inflatable pool, or some pool of some sort, some inflatable pool. So we're waiting still to see if it shows up in the series. But my husband owns a hardware store, and he sold them an inflatable pool.
What's your husband's hardware store's name?
It's Wankel's Hardware. It's on 3rd Avenue between 88th and 89th. It's I'm going to totally plug it right now. It's a 5th generation enterprise. It's been around since 1896, run by the same family. We're really great. We have great customer service. Come on down.
Great.
Cool. I definitely will. Wankles.
You should have said your prices are insane or something like that.
Nobody wants to be connected to
You know
crazy
what? It's so funny. I was walking up 5th Avenue in Brooklyn today, and I saw a sign up on a wall. You know how they would paint signs on walls back in the day, where it was like an advertisement that was just painted right on the wall, and the faded one for a place called Aaron's, and it said the only way you're gonna find a better deal is if your husband's in the biz. So,
that is pretty funny.
There's still an Aaron's up here in New Rochelle.
Yeah, so if your husband's in the biz, then Aaron's is not the place for you, I guess. Aaron's is a hardware store, Joe?
It's a everything store. They sell furniture, computers. So
Gotcha.
I never see anybody in there, but it's still open.
They keep selling. It's
All
probably a front for one of those drug operations, Joe.
There you go. They're laundering money.
So I know that Lorenzo he doesn't have a show for us because he hasn't narrowed his selections down to a show, but he has been watching something that has been on the minds and in the hearts of many people in our nation and in our world over the last couple of weeks, and is about 2 weeks away from it, 2 to 3 weeks away from its pinnacle, and that is the World Cup. Lorenzo, how would you like to jump into World Cup discussion?
Well, Malik, it was either the World Cup or Night Shift the new hospital drama
Oh God.
centered in San Antonio, Texas. A little shout out for San Antonio, Texas, that is located just south of Austin in the fine state of Texas. Nobody does it better. And yeah, but I am not going to watch that show. It looks crazy stupid. And so that leaves the World Cup. I'm still waiting for some shows to come on the air. I personally call dibs on the Leftovers. I'm curious about that show, and I am going to dive into it once it starts up. But I think that's not going to be until what, the beginning of July, Joe?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was. Is it next week or the week after next?
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of the shows I'm interested in are really not kicking up until at least next week. And so in the meantime, we do have a little thing called the World Cup, which has been full of drama this year. So just a quick little backstory. I moved here 8 years ago, which means that I have been in New York for the last 3 World Cups. And I love coming here for the drama. I mean, nothing brings New York together like the World Cup. It's just a fact of life. I'm not even sure how it is elsewhere in the world anymore. I just know that in New York you can always go into a bar, just stand by a TV, and you're gonna find a crowd around you, and you guys are gonna have a shared experience together. Last year, when the U.S. made it into the semifinals, I was watching the game with Spike Lee. I'm a big Spike Lee fan. He was right next to me. I was in Fort Greene. He has his headquarters or his offices in Fort Greene, and we were watching the game right next to each other. When the U.S. won, we gave each other a high five, the highlight of my time in Fort Greene. And yeah, so I'm always excited about the World Cup. It just means a lot of fun in New York City. And today was no exception for Mexico actually crushed. I don't know if I should say crushed, but what the hell? I'm going to say crushed Croatia 3-1 today. They scored 3 goals in rapid succession. It was a thing of beauty. Mexico got a bad call as far as what looked very much like a handball within the penalty box, which should have resulted in a red card and a penalty kick. Ended up not being called at all. Mexico, outraged and angered, then went on a rampage and just started firing goals into the Croatian goal net thing that they are supposed to not let goals go into. And Croatia actually was able to score 1 more goal before getting one of their players red carded. What was that guy's name? Reddit?
Reddit.
Anyway, so yeah, Mexico went ahead and moved forward. They are one of the first teams to actually make it to the final 16. They are with who are they going to be playing? Let me see real quick. I'll get that in 1 second. Let me just go on and tell you guys about Spain. I don't know if anybody remembers how Spain did last time. Any of y'all remember how Spain did last time?
They won
Yeah,
it
they
all
won.
last time.
They won it all. Well, guess what? This year they were ranked number 1 coming into the World Cup, and they are not making it to the final 16, which is a bit of an upset. Mexico beating Croatia was a bit of an upset too, if you're counting upsets. And so that was a bit of a disappointment for España, I'm sure. And then yesterday, guys, did you guys happen to watch the game yesterday?
Watched it all.
The match. Talk about drama, Joe. Talk about drama. It
30
was
seconds
incredible.
left. All they needed was 30 seconds.
Okay, so what we're talking about, if you're not aware, U.S. Was beating Portugal by 1 goal. It was 2-1. They had been trailing since like 5 minutes into the match. So if they were to have won this match, then they would have moved on. They would have moved directly into the final 16, and it looked like they were actually going to do it. They scored a goal, I mean, the great thing about the U.S., what's so fun, okay, so I guess I should just put it out there in interest of, like, full disclosure. I root for 3 teams. I root for Argentina, I root for the U.S., and I root for Mexico. And so U.S. is just always fun to root for because they are the comeback kids. They just make a habit out of coming back in the fourth quarters of the games. In that last 15 minutes, that's when they make their big drives. Definitely in the second half is when all the action happens. And yesterday was no exception. They had been trailing. Then they came back, and not much time was left in the match before they scored their second goal. And then it was just a matter of really doing whatever they could to keep Portugal from scoring. And they tried, but when 90 minutes was up, there was stoppage time of 5 minutes, which seemed a bit high for stoppage time. Interestingly enough, did you know, Joe, that yesterday was the first water break ever in the history of the World Cup?
Really? I didn't. When did they take the water break?
They took the water break in the first half. At the end, somewhere in the first half, they took the water break, and so I figured that the stoppage time for that would have happened in the first half. But for whatever reason, they added a full 5 minutes. At first, they added only 4 minutes. They added 4 minutes, and then they added an additional minute on top of that. So
are you saying the fix was in? Like they were buying Portugal more time?
They added the 5th minute because one of the substitutions for the U.S. Came onto the field too slowly. It was listed as 4 minutes. It was originally listed as 4 minutes. The U.S. made a substitution. The substitute came off fine, but the substitute that came on very slowly and
trying to kill the clock.
It appeared deliberate. So the referees gave them a 5th minute. That's why it went from 4 to 5.
All right,
and had it been 4, they would have actually won.
Are you a communist? Is that what you're now?
This is what was explained.
To become a communist?
This is what was explained as to why they got a 5th minute, because a lot of people were complaining about whether or not.
I'm sure you're a perfectly patriotic American.
No,
sure.
Like partially.
Good job, Lorenzo McCarthy. Damn.
No, it was just disappointing because I guess if we haven't said it by now, Portugal in the last 30 seconds of that 5 minutes of stoppage time actually scored a tying goal. That was scored, I think, by Varela, I guess. He scored it for Portugal. And that was huge because what that means now is that the U.S. is going to have to play again, going to have to go up against Germany, the powerhouse Germany. Germany. And those guys are ranked number 2, and they are no joke. And the U.S. is going to have to tie them. Now, if U.S. manages to tie them, then both teams, both Germany and U.S., will move on to the final 16. If not, then the U.S. will be out. So this is a very exciting game, people. It's going to be happening this Thursday. I have no idea when you're going to be listening to this show, but this Thursday I will be watching this game at 11 o'clock in the morning. If you are looking for me, Johanna, that is where I will be.
Well, just to clarify for our fans out there, the U.S. is not out with a loss, but it does become very dicey.
That's the thing, right?
You got to count goals. You got to count.
Given the goals against and the goals
to ensure a place in the 16, they're gonna need to tie Germany.
Absolutely, to ensure that they get in, they may have to either win or tie against Germany. Completely agree with that. I just don't want to give people the sense that if they lose, they're out, and there's no way for them to get into the 16.
It's just up for grabs, like what happened with Spain. It's just. You don't want to put yourself in games. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you are letting what happens to other teams decide your fate.
Absolutely, and they put themselves in this situation by giving up that last goal.
And I want to give a shout out to Clint Dempsey. He is from Nacogdoches, Texas, and he was the captain of the U.S. team, and he did score one of those goals for the U.S., so shout out to Clint Dempsey. Mexico is another one of they're ranked 19, and they are another one of those Cinderella stories, and it's always just fun to root for Mexico. Walking down Fifth Avenue, every time I pass somebody wearing a Mexico jersey, I yelled out, Viva Mexico! And we all had a good cheer. One
If
of the
you
perks
were up in my neighborhood today, you would have seen a whole
one
bunch
of
of
the
them.
perks one of the perks about living in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, is that there are a lot of people wearing Mexico kits this fine summer day, and that just leaves us with Argentina, who is ranked number 5. They still have not secured their place yet. Lionel Messi they have high expectations, of course, for this team. He's one of the best players in the world, and he's scored at least one goal, right?
Yeah,
But
he scored a game-winning goal like the other
right.
day.
But I think there's still some higher expectations. They want to see more. They want to see some resounding victories, something like what Brazil's doing right now from Argentina, and so they are actually going to be will probably be facing off against Ecuador or Switzerland uh, in Sao Paulo. That would be for what, Group F, Group F, Group E. I'm getting them confused. Anyway, so finally, I just want to close with Miguel Herrera. If you don't know who Miguel Herrera is, he's the manager for Mexico. He is also known as the most giftable manager in the World Cup. He was very excited today to see his team take out Croatia so resoundingly. And yeah, so look up Miguel Herrera, guys, and type in GIF and see what kind of treasure troves you uncover by doing that. Okay, and that is your quick roundup for my 3 teams: Mexico, U.S., and Argentina. And I will keep you guys updated with any more updates. Next week we're going to have a lot of news. Hopefully, U.S. will still be part of the discussion.
Absolutely. We'll be looking forward to that. So yeah, so basically the rundown from here on in, guys and fans, is as these episodes air, as the new episodes of these shows air, each agent will give their review, a little synopsis, similar to the way we did Game of Thrones and Walking Dead. So if you can, go ahead and catch up on the 3 episodes of Power that have aired thus far. Catch up on the 5 episodes of Gang Related that Joe has reported on. See how much of the Orange is the New Black that you can catch up on. If any of you guys don't have Netflix, of course, then Johanna will have to go more in depth because you obviously can't see the show. And of course, Lorenzo, you can catch most of the World Cup soccer games either on ESPN or Free or ABC
All right, your
or some
neighborhood
of the other
bar. I
shows. Yeah, or
suggest
at
you
your neighborhood bar. Yeah, if you're not going there,
go
if you're not going out.
somewhere. I mean, for God's sakes, you could just go to the laundromat, and you are bound to find an event. You know what I mean,
That's
Malik?
frankly my
Absolutely.
favorite part of soccer and the World Cup is the events and just being around the energy of people who are really getting into it. So it's the right way to watch it, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. So we will definitely be back next week with a new weekly episode. Stay tuned for that. This week's our panel discussion will be led by our moderator Joe, who
What's the
will be leading
subject,
things
Joe?
along. Joe, have you
No,
picked the subject yet?
not yet. It is coming.
Okay.
Okay,
I
let's hope
All
promise.
so.
right.
Surprise
We're, we're
topic.
we're all on pins and needles waiting for Joe's
Hmm.
agenda, and we will be ready for that. And so until then, for Joe, Johanna, and Lorenzo, I am Malik. We are the Agents of Helm. Have a great night, and we will see you next week. Stay later, guys.
Later.
Bye.
Peace.